If your boss tells you you're the best person for this job and you just nod and agree, congratulations, you're experiencing the most insidious form of manipulation. Hidden manipulation under the guise of praise. Get ready, I'm going to show you the sneakiest tactics bosses use, and by the end of the video, you'll learn how to protect yourself from these traps. Imagine this. It's Monday morning, you're going to work. You open the door, everything is as usual. Your boss calls you into his office and smiles. You're the best person to take on this responsibility, he says. And in that moment, you remember that this isn't the first time. An indescribable heaviness settles inside you. You know that this special job is actually the one someone else turned down, the one no one wants to touch. But if you say no, will you be seen as a troublemaker? That's where the trap begins. In psychology, this is called strategic praise. Most people think control is achieved through threats or punishment, but the most effective way to control is through praise. Research shows that employees seen as high performers carry a heavier workload for the same pay and title. Why? Because once the good worker label sticks, you start pushing yourself to keep it. Your brain says, if I say no this time, I won't be seen as reliable anymore. And after a while, you realize you're not just an employee, you've become a role that's expected of you. That role slowly wears you down. They know this very well, bosses, managers, the system. Praise is free. Raises are expensive. Telling you you're irreplaceable costs them nothing. But increasing your salary by 20% impacts the bottom line. That's why they feed you praise. They make it harder for you to object by showing you appreciation. You work harder in exchange for less. But here's the really dangerous part. Even when you realize this, you may not be able to refuse. Because it's not just pressure from outside, it's an identity that has become a part of you over time. Now, saying no doesn't just feel like refusing a job, it feels like denying who you are. I'm a good worker, I'm indispensable, I can't say no. In cognitive psychology, this is called self-schema lock-in. Your identity is fused with a belief that works against you. If you refuse, you feel like you're contradicting yourself, but the truth is, there's a huge difference between being a good worker and being a worker who can set boundaries. One silently consumes you, the other slowly empowers you. One always wants you to give more, the other reminds you what belongs to you. And by the time most people realize this difference, they're already exhausted. Now let's dig deeper. This will help you understand the difference better. Because it's not just about overloading you with work. There's something more insidious going on. Without you noticing, they start expecting more from you. Once you become the good worker, your performance becomes the new standard. So if you worked late every night for a week and then the next week you want to leave at a normal time, you get asked, why are you leaving early today? Your high performance has become the norm. Research shows high-performing employees receive much harsher criticism than others, even when their performance dips slightly, because the bar has been raised for them. No one is surprised when an average employee delays a task. When you delay it, it becomes a problem. Isn't this a punishment for your success? But here's the worst part. In this system, being a good employee doesn't mean getting promoted. Being indispensable in a job often means you can't move up in that job. Why? Because promoting you means they have to fill your spot. Keeping you where you are is easier for them. Training someone new takes time. It involves risk. Keeping you where you are and praising you is easier. And that's the point most people don't realize. They don't reward you, they stabilize you. So what should you do? Should you say no? Should you quit? Should you work less? No. Because the problem isn't that you work too much, it's that you work without a strategy. But there's a small group that stays out of this game. Now, I'll reveal this secret to you. They don't hand out their performance like a gift. They know when to show it and when to hold back, because real power lies not in constant giving, but in control. They say yes, but it's a conditional yes. Yes, I can take this project, but then I'll have to postpone Project X. Which is the priority? Yes, I can do this, but since it's beyond my capacity, I'll either need support or will have to revise the timeline. Can you see the difference? This is not a rejection, it is the courage to recognize one's own limits. because exhausted labor produces no value. Preserved labor, however, turns into power over time. Another strategy: create visible success. One of the biggest reasons for the good worker trap is this: most of the work you do is invisible. You do the critical work that keeps the system running in the background, but no one notices that effort. Someone else shines in meetings. You quietly solve problems that no one else notices. And over time, invisible work starts to seem worthless. Because in the business world, reality is often not the work done, but the results seen. If you want to change the game, just working well isn't enough. You need to make your work visible. Take notes on your work, clearly state your contribution, and make it visible at the right time. This isn't showing off. It's not letting your hard work go unnoticed, because unseen success doesn't bring the reward you deserve. It only brings more responsibility. Keep a small notebook. Write down every project you complete, every crisis you resolve, every contribution you make. Update your resume every 3 months. Not for work, just for yourself, because the moment you think you're irreplaceable, you've actually become irreplaceable. And irreplaceability is the enemy of growth. Now let's get to the most radical strategy. Sometimes be a bad employee. Yes, you heard right. Always being perfect hides your true potential. If you perform at 100% for a month, when you perform at 90% the next month, you're perceived as having fallen. You don't have to stay at the top all the time, because true rise is only visible when you step forward when needed. Professionals who play the game know this. They always keep some performance in reserve, because real power isn't working at maximum capacity. It's maintaining the capacity to accelerate when you want to. One last truth: being a good performer is comforting in the short term because it resolves identity uncertainty. You know who you are, people appreciate you, you feel valuable, but in the long run, this identity imprisons you, because being a good performer is not the same as being a good person. If you can't sleep at night, if you think about work even on weekends, if you check your phone even on vacation, you are not successful. You are addicted. Here's the real freedom: having the capacity to work very well, but seeing this not as an identity, but as a tool. You are not defined by the work you do. You are a professional who manages that work. And professionals who manage themselves don't devalue their labor, don't burn themselves out. And strategic professionals never work for free. They are never exploited, they never burn out, because they know the rules of the game. Next time your boss tells you, "You're our best," remember this. It's not a compliment, it's a job offer, and every position has a price. This role offered to you comes with unseen responsibilities, and accepting these responsibilities means spending only your time and energy. Before you pay that price, clarify what you'll get in return. You don't have to be a good worker. Be someone who creates value. Now be honest, are you one of those who always say yes, or one of those who say yes in the right place? Share in the comments. Let's see who's with us. If you found this useful, subscribe. It explains how to spot those trying to steal your success at work. And believe me, this is happening around you too.